Hello and welcome to Face Feedback, the podcast which transports you to the pop culture Thunderdome, where two enter, but only one can leave. That's how it is, isn't it?
That is it, yeah.
That's the premise of this.
Hi, Liz McCurry.
Hi, Will Goldstone. How's it going?
It's all right, yeah, it's all right. I have brought my my game with me. So we should probably preface this by saying that Face Feedback is a podcast in which we each bring a game or a thing of some kind that we want to be remembered.
Yes, that's what it is. It has a special place in our hearts, and we just don't want it to be forgotten.
Yeah. So they might be well-known games, films, whatever we choose to do, but they might also be completely obscure, which I think a couple of mine are. I think yours definitely are, based on the list that we drew up before we started the show. But yeah, so whose turn is it to go first this time?
It's your turn to go first. I was first last week.
Okay.
But can I do a little bit aptly named forgotten feedback?
Sure, please.
So forgotten feedback, which you named. You're really good at naming things.
I just start with the alliteration and go from there.
No, it's great.
I put the word feedback at the end.
So forgotten feedback is going to be anything that we cover. If you're like, how on earth did they not mention that? Or you just have a cool little fact, or maybe it's special to you in some way, then you can just write in and let us know.
Right, so last episode we did Zool and...
Beatdown. Fists of Vengeance.
Yes.
And you can email in at facefeedback@gmail.com.
Correct.
And correct us, inform us, let us know how this game affected your life.
Yeah.
So, on the subject of Zool in Forgotten Feedback.
Okay.
So Zool's a ninja from an nth dimension.
Yeah.
Little fact is that people originally thought he was an ant.
Yes, I did forget that, and terrible. And also, I tell you why people thought he was an ant, which is because in the music level, there is an enemy thing that you think is going to be, oh, that's like one of our dudes.
Yeah.
And it's this weird, like, 3-body thinged ant. Kind of like Zool's dog in the second game. Except it has 3 bits, and it's kind of sort of marching along, and you're like, oh, cool. He's even got like the same like angled eye with like the snaky bit in the middle. And you're like, oh, weird. So we're kind of like an ant race. And then you realise he's an enemy, and you're like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Maybe he was an ant and he left.
Well, I think because it was the music level, he was just a weird creature made up of like notation. I think that's what he was. But anyway, sure. Yeah, he was known as an ant, and then I think they had to do a press release, if I remember rightly, that was like, look, guys, he's not an ant. Leave it alone. He's a ninja, yeah. He's just from a different dimension.
That's exactly what came in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I did forget all about it. Fair enough.
And also, so Beatdown, published by Caviar. Sorry, not published by. Development team was Caviar. They made the original Nier.
Oh. As in the automata?
Yes.
Right.
So I did not know that, but now I do. Thank you. So yeah, forgotten feedback to facefeedback@gmail.com.
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay. Also a new feature that we're introducing this time around, which is false feedback.
Yeah.
In each of our stories, narratives about our forgotten games, we are going to introduce one falsehood.
Yes.
Which the other person must guess before we finish describing. And if they don't at the end, they're going to have to remember and guess what was wrong. So if we think it, can we just shout, false feedback? You don't have to shout that, but you can if you want to. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, so it's my turn to go first. So I'm going to reach into my magic bag.
Oh, I'm very happy.
And dig out my game, which is...
What?
Bart versus the Space Mutants. Full title, The Simpsons Bart versus Space Mutants.
Oh my goodness.
For the Nintendo Entertainment System from 1990. I think it was 1991, but it says copyright 1990. Acclaim Entertainment made the game.
Holy moly.
And it's a very interesting little game. It was out on the NES, that's where I played it back in the day, and it was also out on... It made it to the 16-bit, but it was on NES, and it was kind of the end of that generation. So this is like 91-ish, and then if you think the Super NES was 1990, so it had already been kind of, superseded by newer tech at that point. And it was out on like other things which were more 8-bit, so like Master System, Amiga and these kind of things. Although Amiga, I'm sure people will correct us, has 16-bit stuff on it.
Is it a cartridge?
There is a cartridge. You can have a leaf through. This is the box. I've got the boxed game.
All of your games are so immaculately kept.
Well, no, I got this yesterday from CEX because I lost the original. So
look at that cartridge.
That's the truth.
I've not touched a cartridge for many a year.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember cartridges being this big. I know I was smaller back then.
Well, that's the beauty of the NES is they are way bigger than they needed to be.
Yeah.
The actual chip in that is about this big.
So it's like
I took one apart
once
to make a Raspberry Pi thing out of it.
That's bananas.
And they were bigger, yeah, just to give them more presence. And this one has the little bit of polystyrene in the bottom, which NES games came with. If you bought them new, a little bit of polystyrene just to make it not rattle around in the box. I'm sure that sounds great on the mic on my fussing around with cardboard and polystyrene. But yeah, for those of you who haven't seen it, the front looks very, I would say very Klasky Supo, that kind of like, Rugrats and sort of Doug, sort of early 90s montage of lots of things going on, which made it kind of very appealing. It kind of looks like when you get like a Wes Wally or Waldo for our American friends, or like a board game box where there's just loads of things happening in a scene.
Yeah.
And then Bart's just kind of flying across the front there. So this game, it was a platformer. It was very difficult, but it just had a lot of mechanics. That's why I liked it, because it had a lot going on. Even if it took you like forever to discover it, or you had to read Nintendo Power or something like that. But it was that era of platformers that just had like, you have to jump on this bin and then these things come out and then that knocks this thing, and it's just like, how would you ever guess any of this? Like before the age of the internet. But yeah, so it was a game. I think there were like, I made some notes on this, like 5 levels if I remember rightly. Yeah, 5 levels. So there was the streets, shopping mall, fun fair. Yeah, not the beatdown mean streets. There was a museum that seemed to go into the jungle and then back to a museum in traditional like old platformer, like what the fuck is going on?
Maybe that's what museums were like in the 90s.
They might have been. Yeah, just everyone had a jungle out back. And then the power plant, the traditional Simpsons power plant, was at the back. At the back, as in at the end. But yeah, it was the reason that I kind of liked it was that it was, so in the Simpsons, I don't know how much you remember the Simpsons, they had the Martians and they would appear at random points in episodes and make a weird comment and then disappear. And you'd be like,
my knowledge
Martians.
of the Simpsons is,
I didn't watch that much of it, but I just remember them. And then I realised in revisiting this game for the show that the Martians in this, or Space Mutants, that's probably why it's not the same thing, but the aliens in the Simpsons clearly came after this. Because
so
they're totally
inspired.
different to this, and they would turn up and just make a weird comment about how weird humans were,
and they'd be right,
especially in the Simpsons. But yeah, so this was all about Space Mutants, and basically when I looked at it again, I've forgotten like a really important mechanic, which is made clear by these X-ray specs that Bart has got in his head.
I wondered what they were.
So he has X-ray ability, and basically it's ripping off 1987's They Live, John Carpenter film that I told you a lot about.
That you've told me to watch and I haven't yet.
Yeah, you're slacking off.
I know.
Basically, the premise of that film is that when this guy puts on these sunglasses, he can see members of the public who are actually aliens.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
And he has to do something about it. It's an amazing film. Go and watch it. They've ripped this off as well, but it's really cool. So you basically have it as one of your tools you can switch on, so you can toggle two X-ray specs, and it turns the whole thing like sort of black and orange.
Yeah.
And then you can see the people who are walking down the street. Some of them are aliens, so you have to jump on them. So it's a nice little touch.
So
but
without your specs on, they just like civilians.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of them are. So you switch and you're like, oh no, he's okay. But then only some of them are like that. The rest of the time, there's just little normal mutants jumping around.
Just knocking around.
And you're like, oh, okay, I guess we don't care about them, but the humans we want to... I guess the implication is you're freeing them or something. But yeah, they've tried to... The unfortunate thing is they tried to cram... It's like, what can we do? Ideas about Simpsons. Cram everything in from like series 1 up until that point, because season 2 had just started when this came out.
Yeah.
So it clearly like blown up, got big, quick, make a game about it.
Yeah.
But as such, it doesn't really make for a particularly cohesive game. There's like a bit where you get on a skateboard and one of the bullies kind of comes past you and you have to avoid him. And there's another bit where like Maggie's kind of rolling a bowling ball and you're like, okay, thanks Maggie. And you have to sort of knock them into people. And it's just a bit like, it's just kind of all over the shop. But also as a game, I love that it's all over the shop because the actual conceit, I know narratives in games, at least in NES games perhaps, weren't particularly deep at this point. And I'm sure people will come in and say, oh, well, actually, Zork was a text adventure in 1981 and it was very advanced. But I don't give a shit about that. The point was, the narrative of these mutants was they were going to take over the Earth using this big machine.
Right.
And into the big machine, they would place certain items for different levels. So in the first level, it was things that were coloured purple.
So they were just having a laugh.
Yeah, just fucking around. So in the first level, you have to go around spray painting anything you see that's purple back to red.
I really like the idea of this game. It sounds like my cup of tea, to be honest.
It's just a bit mental, and I think a lot of people probably thought it was shit because of that. And don't get me wrong, it kind of is, but I kind of have an affection for it at the same time. Like, the controls were terrible. Like, the platforming, you think of like, you know, in Mario Brothers where you run and jump.
Yep.
And it's straightforward. In this, you run with the same button that you jump with.
What?
So you have to like hold it down
What?
and then run and then tap it, and then you just time it wrong all the time. And yeah, it's kind of horrible. Or you can press both buttons to do a like a super double jump thing, and it's just it's really really badly designed. Which is why, before you ask, no, I never completed it. I didn't get past the the museum level that I was going to mention, which is just horrible. It all just goes a bit pitfall, and you just fall in quicksand, and it's like, oh, fuck this game.
Do you ever find out what all the objects are being used for? So they
No, it's just like,
things.
Tell you what we'll do. We're going to find these, and in the second level, hats.
If I was an alien and I came to Earth, I'd be like, I want one of those hats.
Yeah, but they didn't want the hats.
Oh.
They were just like, we're going to like use hats. They don't even explain it. Hats to somehow take over the populace. So in that, you're just going through the shopping mall, collecting hats
This
and
game
knocking them off
great.
people.
Knocking them off
It's
people.
weird.
I think that I'm down with this idea. And also, if I was an alien and I went to a planet I've not been to before, I would be all over just
Some would say you might
collecting.
be, but
I'd be all over just like collecting stuff I've never seen before. They might be analysing it in their labs.
true.
Or just seen a lot of TV
Yeah,
and fancied a hat.
that's true. You can see there, little alien on the box.
He doesn't even have a head. There's no part of him that could wear a hat. There's not enough flatness to
This
wear
guy
a
could.
hat.
No, well, he's got the same problem.
He'd have to cut holes in it.
Yeah, we're looking at a space mutant with little tentacles coming out of his head right now. So yeah, I don't know how well it was received. I think it sold pretty well because it's a licensed game. And I think a lot of people probably thought it was pretty crap because it controlled so badly, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. But I didn't, like I mentioned to you in the other episode, I didn't have a console, so I was playing it at my mate's.
Yeah.
So I only have got glimpses of it. And I think maybe that's a bit of like why I thought it was great as well, because I had it was like limited access.
Yeah. So you just wanted more. You're like,
Yeah.
I can't have this on tap. I am going to be craving the next time I can knock hats off of people.
Yeah,
And
it's
spray paint things red.
It's also interesting, I think, from like the game development aspect or the design aspect, because like it's a game that is clearly designed by 5 different people, one for each level, or at least it feels like it is. It probably wasn't.
That's quite cool though.
Because like in the first level, you can go in a store and you can be like, because you collect coins. Coins just randomly pop out of, like I said, pops out of a bin for no reason, as money often does.
That'd be good.
And you can go into this shop, this hardware shop, and he's like, oh, do you want to buy some cherry bombs or some bottle rockets? And you're like, I don't know what I need them for, but okay. And I don't know how many of each I need for what, so I don't know how to spend my currency. And to my recollection, that doesn't happen again. It's just to solve a couple of problems, like you got to scare this bird away in the first level. And it's not like in Resident Evil 4 where you got like buying or selling. The guy opens his coat and he's got
What are you buying?
What are you selling?
So how do you? So you said when the aliens come around, you jump on them. Did you have any weapons like the?
There's other things. Yeah,
you've got like slingshot?
Yeah, he's got his slingshot. You've got like I said, the bottle rocket thing. But there's not really like shooting or anything. It's just like you've got to use the slingshot to knock down, I think it's like balloons or something in the funfair level. It's like they had like an idea for a game mechanic, but were like, there's no way we can thread this through an entire game. Let's just do this specific thing with this specific weapon and then you never see it again. Which is kind of fair enough. These games, I think you could probably complete this in maybe an hour if you knew exactly how to play it.
Yeah.
And I watched some YouTube replays of it. For the last level, you definitely couldn't because you have to figure out, because it's a big maze of the power plant, like all these different rooms. But yeah, it was super difficult, but there's something appealing about it. And there's something appealing about the innocence of like the first sort of season of The Simpsons as well.
Is it just Bart that you play as?
It is.
Only Bart.
The other characters pop up to help you. Like Marge pops up and takes some stuff for you at the end of the level, and Maggie pops up with bowling balls and helps you knock them into the bully. Can't remember what else happens to the other characters.
Why has Bart been tasked with this? Did he just like take it
Hasn't
upon
been tasked.
himself?
He's taken it upon himself.
Brave lad.
Yeah. And if you win at the end, your Bart's face, so you kind of win and it's like, they were foiled by this young boy,
pesky
whatever.
Kids.
Yeah, it's pesky kid. And your face is painted onto the Mona Lisa.
What?
Yeah, it's true story.
That's a lie. That's
Damn it.
false.
Damn it, you got me.
I knew that was. Oh, that's false feedback. False feedback.
You got me. Yeah, but the truth is equally weird. It ends with Bart's face as one of the heads on Mount Rushmore.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because he saved the world.
Because you saved the world,
right?
yeah.
That's just bonkers.
Yeah. So that was 1991. For context, this is the year of The Addams Family, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
I remember that one.
Beauty and the Beast, of course. The only song on the radio would have been Bryan Adams' Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, because it was at number one for however many weeks, like 17 weeks or so. Oh, there's going to be so many corrections in all of these random facts that I'm throwing out. What else was out then? Oh, Tailspin was that year.
What was Tailspin?
Tailspin was a cartoon with a bear that flew like an amphibious landing plane. It was like in the Donald Duck kind of. I think Donald Duck was maybe.
Did it have the Rescue Rangers in it?
It feels like that's around the same time, but I don't think there was a crossover. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, it's definitely Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers time.
I love that,
I know. What a show.
Well, just like hearing about this,
Grammarin.
Just my grammarin. And seeing the stuff on the back. So the key selling points,
Yeah.
the USPs are only Bart can see the Space Mutants with his X-ray glasses. And there's a little picture that says, "We are really Space Mutants. Stop the mummy from unravelling Bart's plan to save Springfield." Why are there mummies involved?
I don't know why, mummies get involved. Maybe the aliens are like, do you know what? We need backup.
Yeah, let's
Where are
call
there
them the
some
ancients.
ancients? Oh, they got some at the museum. Great. Job done.
Maybe that's why the museum's involved then. The whole Simpsons gang defends the nuclear plant from the alien attack. The thing that I take from it is that there's a lot of cool mechanics for like early 90s game.
Yeah.
So there's like the X-ray specs, knocking off people's hats.
Yeah, there's a lot of random weird bits.
Yeah.
So there's like you've got to paint this awning on a shop from being purple because it gives the aliens power apparently. Even though your own shorts in the game are purple, which is a bit of a fuck up.
Is that why he says, "Eat my shorts, man"?
Yeah, I don't think he really meant it that way, but yeah. So you have to like jump up and you have to. The hell is it? I think there's a ball or there's a dog or something that hits the paint can and knocks it down. But it's clearly like early development, like, oh, we're going to get this thing and that's going to fall down. And you think, oh, I bet that game's probably full of these mechanics. It's not.
It's not. So it's kind of just for those moments, like on a level by level basis.
Yeah.
They're not mechanics that build on each other.
No, not at all.
Are the X-ray specs all the way through though?
I think so. Yeah, pretty sure.
I quite like that. I quite like that idea of chaos. And also, sometimes I get a bit overwhelmed by mechanics in games. There's so many that...
Well, they weren't in those days, so you were right.
Yeah, so that a game like this would be pretty sweet for me. I'm like, I can forget that mechanic now. It's level 2.
I think in context, though, like the continuity, like I said at the top, like Super Mario World had just come out bundled with the NES.
Yeah.
So you're playing that. It's like probably for me one of the best platformers of all time. Polished, mechanics are great. All of the enemies do consistent things. Yeah. And then this is just like complete jumble sale carnage of random things to do. So it's like it's like that. It's almost like they're from different eras. Yeah. Of like what is a video game. So in this is like a video game random collectathon when platformers were random collectathons, and then it came out just at the time when platformers suddenly became about being consistent and feeling great and all that,
and not running and jumping with the same button.
Yeah.
Do you find though that like in games these days though, it's quite nice to have one of those levels that clearly the whole design team has just gone, I've got this idea, and they've just gone, just put it in. There's this I forgot what it's called. It might be called the Pitios dungeon. There's a dungeon in Final Fantasy 15, which, as you know, is one of my favourite games. I absolutely love it.
It is.
And all the dungeons are incredible. But there's this particular one that you have to get the flying car to land and complete.
Okay.
And it's incredible. It's like this crazy mix of puzzles, but they're just all so different. And it just feels like the design team have gone, do you know all those really cool ideas you just had?
Like they had a hack week and they're like, let's just toss it all in,
just throw it all in one dungeon. It's done. Right. And I love stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And like everyone got their say here.
But I feel like everyone loves those little like asides from a main like mechanic of a game, like the Sonic thing where you're walking in 3D over the ground and turning those orbs blue to red or whatever, or maybe the other way around. That was always just like, it's really cool. It's just so different.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I love those things.
And maybe that isn't how it worked internally at Square when they were making the Pitios dungeon.
But... Maybe there's just one mad bastard at Acclaim who was putting this whole game together.
Then he paints everything red.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if he knocked his hat off?
Yeah. What are you talking about? We're making a game. Okay. And you're the only one who knows how to direct a game. Yeah. Just do all of what I said and then ship it.
Imagine if there was these aliens, right, that only collected things that were purple. Yeah. Do it. Done.
I think we can slap the Simpsons franchise on that. Done.
So to say that I've never particularly watched Simpsons, I think I've probably seen 2 episodes in my life. Wow. It sounds like a game I'd play just for the bounce. Just for the bounce and just for the nice segregation of mechanics.
Yeah, I think that this wasn't unique in that period, but I think the platformers where you just did random shit where you were like, what is that? Is that from the TV show / film that it's based on, or did someone just make this up? I remember the Addams Family games being like that as well, where you were just like, there's like a bit where it's like, oh, this is kind of inspired by this thing that happened in the film, and then the rest of it's like, you just start like guessing, freewheeling kind of thing.
Is there anything in the game that then went on to inspire the series?
Oh man, I would say only the Space Mutants, in that they were like, oh, we can do, but clearly someone at The Simpsons, Matt Groening or whoever, had an investment in, oh, let's do UFOs and let's make them, quipping kind of things. There's some episode with the Space Mutants where someone's trying to fend them off with a board with a nail through the end, right. Just like a plank. And there's just a bit at some point where someone's like, oh, yeah, no, they're not gonna be afraid with that. They're gonna beat us with their insane weapons. And then they arrive and the aliens are just like, oh no, they've got a board with a nail in it, and then they fly away. Oh, it's great.
I think I'd get on with these aliens.
Yeah, I think you'd be like-minded. So that is Bart Simpson's versus the Space Mutants. Liz, what have you got for me?
So just before,
Yes.
just give me a recap of why you thought it was awesome.
I
That's
think
what's
it's
important to me.
Okay, it's
Just a
awesome
quick-
because it's just an artifact of that type of platformer at that time, and it seems
Yeah.
like one of the best examples of just a load of weird mechanics slapped together. And I know none of this is like particularly a good thing,
I think it's a great thing.
but it had a lot of appeal to me, and I think they did, like, despite the funky controls, I think they did a good job of like capturing the weird, quirky 90s-ness of the first season of The Simpsons. I don't think it's a terrible game. It's consistent in a few ways, but yeah, I love it, and I love the fact that there was very little reining in the director or whoever was saying, we're going to add this, we're going to add this, we're going to... I mean, it's in the days when there probably weren't game directors. There was just like a small group of people just saying, yeah, right, how do we code that? Done.
Yeah, don't rein them in.
Yeah.
That's my take on this.
So yeah, that's my pitch.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much. I think we're going to continue a theme of slapping mechanics together for what I have.
Okay.
And I love this game so much.
Okay.
So, I am bringing to you the 2009 title Wet.
I'm very familiar with Wet.
Are
actually.
you?
Yeah,
Have
a
you
friend of
played it?
mine worked on it.
You're kidding me!
I'm not kidding you.
I loved this game. So I'm going to read the back of the box. It's like how I like to start.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this is our protagonist. I'm not going to read the back of the box. I'm just still babbling.
Is that Jane Wet? From Wet?
Ms. Wet. This is Ruby Malone.
Okay.
Our protagonist of Wet. She's great.
What year are we talking?
2009.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It was developed by Behaviour Interactive and published by Bethesda.
It was indeed.
So, lock and load.
I will.
Become Ruby Malone, right? Back when I was 18,
That's all you wanted out of life.
that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I was there,
It was
like,
an awkwardly fitting denim jacket.
That's me.
Leather jacket. And sick ink.
look, did I have ink then? I don't think so. But the leather jacket and the fringe, totally my aesthetic. And we're
Yeah.
both women, so I was totally like, this is great.
Also a woman.
Also a woman.
Thanks for clarifying.
Role models. Become Ruby Malone, a gun for hire equipped with an arsenal of acrobatic moves, over-the-top sword skills and dual pistols. Experience the freedom to shoot anytime, anywhere in an adventure spanning 3 continents.
That's what I hate about real life, is that you don't have the freedom to shoot anytime, anywhere. That's the good thing about simulation.
So, developed by Behaviour Interactive,
Yep.
published by Bethesda.
Yep.
Just a little bit about the game. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I love that you've always got the wrong game in these as well. Liz has got Lara Croft Tomb Raider Legend inside of this box.
I just...
Where are all your games?
They're in different boxes.
By the end of this show, we'll have figured out where each game is and drawn like a red string murder map of what goes where.
This is convenient for me up until the point where I'm trying to find a game and I have to do a mental map backwards of what I've been playing to find the game that I'm after.
I'm recoiling right now because Liz is doing like a DJ scratching thing with the disc, rolling it round, and that's messing with my OCD.
So I'm in the manual, my favourite thing.
Of course.
Love a bit of the manual. So there is no real bio about Ruby, which is very interesting. I mean, it says that she's like a gun for hire, she's a mercenary, but she's got no backstory. She's just like, take me as I am.
Do you think that they were trying to be like, well, it's you are Ruby?
I am
in
Ruby.
the kind of like,
I was Ruby.
You don't know much about Gordon Freeman kind of thing.
You don't know shite about
You don't know shite about shite.
So,
little callback to episode 1.
Ruby was Eliza Dushku of Faith.
Oh, of Dollhouse fame.
Oh, Dollhouse, and also Faith in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
Now, she described Ruby Malone as a working class Lara Croft.
Okay.
In an interview, they were like, so describe your character. And she was like, a working class Lara Croft. And I really love that. So I want to put into Ruby's backstory that she like grew up on a council estate in Doncaster or something.
Wait, do you think that a lot of people were put off of the Tomb Raider because they're like, I can't relate to her social upper class grouping, it's throwing me right off of shooting this tiger.
I always wish that, like, shooting tigers aside, I always wish that I had a Croft Manor.
Right.
Mercury Manor would have been great.
Yes.
It would have been amazing.
Well, once we get some sponsorships on the show, we can work
I
on
will
that.
have that. Tarantula is a character in it.
Okay.
So, a bit of a spoiler, if you do want to play this 2009 classic, is one of the end bosses. But she's in it for, like, literally 5 seconds to my recollection, but she's pretty cool. And also, do you remember Alan Cumming?
Yeah.
The Scottish actor.
Yeah, he's, what's it in X-Men, isn't he? Nightcrawler.
But also, do you remember the BBC Two comedy, The High Life?
No.
Where he played an air steward?
No.
I remember him from that. It was brilliant. My mum used to watch
He's great. I've seen him in all sorts of things.
Yeah, he's great. So he's a bad guy henchman in it.
Oh, cool.
So this was
It's got a good cast.
Yeah, it is. And the voice acting's great. And just... The amazing thing about this game is that it's just so well put together. So it's Grindhouse, that's the aesthetic. And so you can play through the game with, like, this film grain effect and, like, a camera shake. And then, like, what's it called? Like the burn? Like the lens burn? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. You can play through it with that. And back in the day, I remember loving it. When I went back to play it recently just to get a feeling of it, I had to switch it off.
Because it's just like...
It was just a bit too, like, sensory overload.
Yeah, and super cliche at this point, I suppose.
But back in the day, and the music's amazing. So the composer is Brian LeBarton, who is from the band Beck.
Oh, okay.
So he did all the music for it.
Interesting.
And it's just incredible. So cohesively, wonderfully put together.
I mean, I could say, by the way, Bart versus the Space Mutants, composed by Danny Elfman.
Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, technically, he composed the theme tune for The Simpsons.
Oh, wow. I genuinely didn't know that.
There you go.
That's not something.
He is credited on Wikipedia as the composer for this. There's other music in the game, and it says Danny Elfman, but you're like, really? Was he... like sending them over some orchestral tracks and they were like, yep, we'll turn these into MIDI 8-bit. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Beck.
So he did the music. Would you like to hear a little bit of it?
I feel like you're going to play it whether I say yes or no.
So the main theme of so imagine Grindhouse.
So as in Tarantino's little foray into Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, do you know I love Robert Rodriguez films? Yeah. Anyway, that's another podcast. It's so good. So you run in, shooting some bad guys, and this starts. You just feel like the biggest badass in the world.
Absolutely. I'm on board.
So good. Anyway.
So yeah, it's very much that sort of
it's brilliant. I love it.
Fast-paced southern rockabilly vibe.
Just amazing fun. Cool. You just feel like the biggest badass. And
so talk to me about the gameplay. What do you do? What's it like?
Presumably
we're talking third person.
So it's third person action. There's just nothing. It's like
there's nothing you can't shoot.
Oh God, it's brilliant. It's like they just got a load of people in a room and went, if you were a mercenary, what would you like to do? It's almost like, it's just brilliant. So you start the game. So you start the game with like some base mechanics that I remember back in some of the reviews. They said, you start with these mechanics and you can't do anything. I remember having the best time. So you can skid in on your knees.
Nice. Like a kid at a wedding.
Oh, yes. But like killing mafia instead.
Very unlike a kid at a wedding.
And so I started skidding on my knees. You can run on walls and then you can jump up. And whenever you start shooting your guns, it goes into slow-mo.
Of course it fucking does. Why wouldn't it?
Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Do you, as a result, max out the pain? See what
you did there.
Yeah.
But I'm still holding the box so dearly.
Yeah,
I'm just
I want to have a little look, but you're like...
I'm sorry,
fine.
I just think it's...
Right, let me have a look at this.
So you start off with like dual pistols, and one of the pistols auto locks and the other one you can target on someone else, so you can like double shoot. And then you can run on walls.
You mentioned.
And you can skid on your knees.
You mentioned.
And then close combat, you have a samurai sword.
There we go.
It's just like bananas because you can just be like skidding on my knees, running up the walls, slicing and dicing with this badass music. She's doing all these quips. Like she's she doesn't give a shit. She's just like, is this your first time to a gunfight? Oh, good shots. I'm still here. And you're just like, yes, Ruby. It's just the best. Like, I had so much fun.
She's just zinging them whilst skidding around and shooting around.
Skidding around on my knees is one of the most, like, I feel more games should have the mechanic of just skidding in on your knees.
Yeah.
And shooting the place up.
There she is.
Oh, she's brilliant. Love her. But then as you kind of go through and you can upgrade, you can get things that just make it a little bit more seamless and badass. So you can get something that after you've skidded in on your knees, you can do an upper rise with the sword.
Oh.
So it's just all seamless.
Combos.
Yeah.
Sick combos.
And then like you can string them together and get more style points.
This is around...
Backflip off people and shoot them and...
This is like a similar time to like when they did the first Arkham Asylum games.
I'm not sure. I'll take your word for it, but
maybe Arkham Asylum was before this. But yeah, it seemed like that time when they were like, it was about chaining together a bunch of hits in a third-person game.
And this did it so well.
Yeah, this seems a bit more freeform than back. The thing I didn't like about Arkham Asylum games was that it all felt like it was just timing, and you weren't like doing the things, but you were just pressing buttons in the right order.
This was very
combat.
organic because you could chain. You found what worked for you. Like I said, skidding on my knees and doing the rising cut with the samurai sword was like my killer thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of got your own arsenal. You kind of got your own style and...
Textbook Mercury murder.
Yeah, and it made you feel like a badass.
Cool.
So like, I guess this is the thing. So I went back to play it recently just to get a feel for it again. And obviously it was 2009. And I think, as games have carried on.
They have, yeah. They've kept making them.
They kept making them. There's almost more like a uniform control system now. And older games just are a little bit more clunky and maybe not quite so refined. But at the time, I just took to this game like a duck to water.
That's one of the problems, isn't it, with going back to games, is that since the games industry, like a lot of games that come out, adhere to similar control schemes, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
But going back to older stuff, you're like, what
is going on?
Like what, RT doesn't shoot, or like A is shoot, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
I think cameras are the big one for me. I feel like the camera systems these days are so much more unified than back in the day.
Yeah, true.
But and then the other thing is that you can go into like rage mode.
Okay.
So after you've got your multiplier up so far, or I think it might just be in select areas, you go into like this rage mode, and so everything goes into like a White Stripes video, like red, white, and black, and you can like multiply up.
Is that your false feedback?
No.
Are you lying?
No, that's genuine.
Okay.
I was just about to say my false feedback. I know I shouldn't tell you. But I was literally just about to say it.
You've ruined it now.
I know. I'll make up something else. So,
okay.
So I haven't talked about the story, have I?
No.
Which is also great.
But you also said that she doesn't have a background. But what are you trying to achieve during the game? Presumably you're just getting to the end of a gauntlet of some kind of crime syndicate.
Well, yes, but the storyline is brilliant.
Hold on a minute, if I may.
Yep.
Why is it called Wet?
Because...
Is it like wet work, as in mercenary work?
Yeah,
okay. Sorry.
Yeah, your hands are literally wet with blood, the wet work. Yeah, it says that right at the beginning.
Right.
Which I
like.
like.
You put it in, it's like, this game is called Wet because of the phrase wet work.
Yeah.
Your hands will be red with blood. Continue. Are you over 18?
Yeah. I always like a good explanation of the title. Like I did for Beatdown last time. I like a good title, and it tells you right at the beginning, before any of the action starts, why it's called Wet.
Wet brackets with blood.
Your hands will be wet with blood. There's also a really great... in fact, there's a couple of... like you just hopping from the tops of cars and shooting shit up, which is also good.
That bit's definitely true because I can see it on the back of the box.
It's just non-stop action and it's brilliant. So why is she doing this? That was your question.
Yeah.
So she is a mercenary, and people just come to her and go, here's lots of money, and she goes, thanks, and goes and shoots some people up. So the story starts with a bunch of bad guys all having a chat, and she's watching him from the glass roof.
Of course. Ready to repel, presumably.
Yep.
And to repel once she gets there as well.
So she jumps down. I immediately start skidding on my knees.
Yeah.
You can skid
You're like,
for
just
ages
walk.
as well.
I'm right here.
It's my favourite mechanic.
So
What other games have that in where you can just skid on your knees into the action? Because I want to play them.
I can't think of a single one.
It's so satisfying.
This can be the things we forgot, the forgotten feedback. And next week they're like, how could you forget FIFA, in which you came in and skidded on your knees?
Yeah. Can you imagine though? FIFA wet crossover where you like skid onto a football pitch and just take out some...
think about Apex. There's a lot of skidding in that game. Apex Legends.
What, on your knees?
Skidding it. Well, I don't know. It's not clear because you're in first person view. I never looked down when I was skidding around.
I imagine if I
Brink,
pretended.
which brought in the old parkour, a bit of skidding in that.
I might have to try these.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So there's this man, he hands over a briefcase. Mm-hmm. And you have, your mission when you start is to get that briefcase. So you chase him down, you skid on your knees, you samurai him up, all with the dwang, 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 dwang music.
Yeah.
And then you get the case, of course you do. Mm-hmm. I think she blows the guy up.
How so?
So I think like...
Dynamite in the ass?
He calls her a bitch, so...
Oh, wow. Justified.
Yeah, so he's lying next to a car in petrol that's just blown up. And he calls her a bitch, and she's like, you shouldn't have said that.
And then she flicks in slow motion.
That. Yeah.
Flicks a lighter, presumably.
And then he blows up.
Does she actually do that, though?
Yeah, and she walks away in slow-mo.
Brilliant.
That was my Texan drawl impression as well.
Is that what
I hope
was?
you enjoyed it.
I wondered what it was, yeah.
I'm trying. So she gets the briefcase, she takes it to the man who paid her to get the briefcase. Guess what's in the briefcase?
Ooh, well, it's definitely not documents, Liz. I know that much. The severed hand of an enemy.
Close.
Shit.
A heart.
That is your false feedback.
It is not.
Damn it!
It is not my
I'm going to keep pressing and guessing.
It's a human heart.
Okay.
And it is for...
In a briefcase?
In a briefcase.
How big is this briefcase?
Just normal, like a laptop size.
Doesn't seem like a heart would be that slim.
This man's heart is. So he gets his heart.
You brought the heart of Slim Jim.
He gets his heart. He's best pleased.
He's best pleased.
1 year later.
Is that what he says? Thank you for delivering the heart. I'm best pleased.
I think he's British, so.
He's not Kiefer Sutherland.
He's best pleased.
I'm very chuffed with his delicious heart. Thank you, Ruby.
1 year later.
Yeah.
Am I spoiling this? I am spoiling this. But
Spoilers for 2009's
Okay.
Wet on the 360, which very few people own anymore. So go for it.
1 year later, she gets a phone call.
Uh-oh.
I need you again because my son's acting up.
I love you described this like an episode of Days of Our Lives. My son is acting up.
So Mr. Ackers, who was the man that you took the heart to.
Yeah. His son is acting up. Ackers Jr.
Ackers Jr.
He's up to his old tricks.
Has got some gang going on.
Oh, no.
And he's like, please bring my son back out of this because...
He should be part of the family business.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So Ruby goes back, she grabs him, brings him home. Turns out...
Oh, no.
The man is a false Ackers, beheads the son and stabs Ruby.
Oh, shit. This is major spoilers.
She's like, what is happening?
Yeah. I should have checked Facebook or LinkedIn for their relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then she is like, doesn't want to get on the bad side of this guy whose son's just got murdered. So she's like, I'm going to go and avenge him.
It's not his son, though.
No, the guy who's...
Oh, but it's someone's son.
So the man... I'm not explaining this very well. This is why I don't write scripts for EastEnders. So the man whose heart you gave back...
Yeah.
He's like, go and get my son.
Yeah.
So you bring his son back.
And he kills him, and it wasn't his son.
No, it was like a double. It's like a fake Mr. Ackers. So it wasn't the man whose heart she gave back, it was just an imposter. So he was like, bring back my son. It's not really my son. Killed him because he's trying to get rid of the Acker's empire.
Right.
So he can be the biggest, like, drug ring.
Right. So that was Acker's son, but it wasn't Acker's.
Yes.
Got it. Fucking hell, Liz. Okay.
So now you're going to try and avenge the real Acker's.
And Acker's is dead because that's his heart.
Acker's Jr.'s dead. Acker, whose heart you brought him, he's all right.
What, he got a different heart, did he?
The one in the case, yeah.
But it's not in his body, is it? How is he alive?
They put it in his body.
Right. What was he doing in the interim, Liz?
Oh, he had a mechanical heart.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. It will crank. It's fine. Okay.
So that's the story. And it's great. It's full of twists and turns.
Confirmed.
It is like a Robert Rodriguez film. It's just absolutely brilliant. So... What have I got in my notes that I haven't said?
I don't know. You've said a lot.
Yeah,
so...
it's brilliant. Oh, yeah, one of the sad things about it is that in 2010,
Go on.
in an article in Eurogamer and other places, they announced a sequel.
Oh. We know that didn't happen.
Wetter?
Are you serious?
No.
Oh. That's your false feedback?
Yes. No, it wasn't.
For that is one.
That was just my...
That was just a quip.
Yeah, that was just a quip.
Okay, Bants, continue.
However, the following year in 2011, Eurogamer published another article that said it had been cancelled.
So this is Eurogamer's fault?
No.
Really?
This is just Eurogamer was my resource background. Because I knew that there was going to be... Research background, sorry. Because I knew that they had said there's going to be a sequel. Because actually, the end boss lady... that tarantula, you kill her, but then Ackers says...
He's throughout then?
I know you didn't mean to do it, but you killed my son, so we're not friends. And then the tarantula lady twitches. So it's like she's got two enemies, really.
Oh.
So there's a potential sequel, but it's never happened.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. And
maybe it carried on in... Was there like a comic book or some kind of tie-in?
I don't know. I wish there was, though. Because I really liked... Ruby, I really liked the world, just the combat was incredible. On my list of reasons I liked it, I've said them all, but I'm going to go through them anyway.
Yeah, run me through your checklist.
Why I like it, bullet point list.
Yeah.
Fast-paced gameplay that at the time was seamless. Mm-hmm. If you did your upgrades right, you could have a right laugh.
Right. Skidding on your knees.
Skidding on my knees. It was just brilliant. Film grain, grindhouse, Tarantino style. There was a camera shake in black brackets.
There was a camera shake.
Very stylish. That's just one bullet point. Makes you feel like a pro early on, and the upgrades just make for fun and ridiculous gameplay. Jump off and shoot, slice upwards from knee skid. That was my notes.
Brackets Eurogamer.
Soundtrack, Brian Labarton.
Brackets back.
Brackets back. So yeah, that is Wet. Absolutely love it. I feel it's very underrated.
Well, Liz, I failed to guess your falsehood.
I was about to say, so when I was like, oh, it says it goes into a White Stripes video.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you get her devil trigger up super far,
yeah,
she turns into a dragon.
Right.
But
so you didn't work in a different one either?
No, I tried to.
That's fine.
But then I didn't.
Yeah.
Everything was true.
Except for nearly a dragon.
Nearly a dragon. And there was a heart in the briefcase. That was not a false feedback.
Damn it.
What does it say about the key
selling points?
Yeah.
Over-the-top acrobatics,
Yes.
fantastic aerial sword attacks, and high body count.
Yes.
Combined for the ultimate interactive action experience.
Yes.
That's point 1 of 3. Second is seamlessly blend 3 types of gameplay with a 360-degree slip aiming gun target system, sword fighting, and acrobatic ability.
Yes.
And 3 of 3, experience the style of a unique retro film visual treatment with stylized characters and an original 70s-inspired soundtrack.
Yes. All those 3 things
are true.
And are done extremely well.
Less of a big sell is the quote from Destructoid, which is on the back.
What's it say?
The stage is definitely set for a great action video game.
It is.
That's it. You could say that
I like
about
the voice that
literally.
you
It's
did.
like, oh, we've gotten together a bunch of great developers in a room. Oh, good. The stage then is definitely set for a great action video. Literally no information about the game whatsoever. Thanks, Destructoid.
The only other things in my notes that I've not said are that through the game, old films are randomly spliced in.
What, real ones?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's just like intros to films. Like
So
old
maybe they
films.
made up Grindhouse films,
Yeah.
or maybe they were real ones that the rights have lapsed.
Yeah, and I don't know, but they just randomly get spliced in, and you were like, "What?" Also, this was not Alicia Dushku's first video game.
Okay.
She had also reprised her role of Faith in the 2003 Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds.
Right.
She was in Yakuza.
Yakuza.
Yeah.
Yakuza?
Oh, that's how I say it up north.
Okay. All right. What are Yakuza? Running around
Yakuza
on
love.
their knees, slicing people.
Saints Row 2.
Right.
And she was in Fight Night.
Rings a bell, Fight Night. Why don't I remember
Yeah,
what it is?
I think it was the EA Sports one where you were
Is
like
that the boxing one?
boxing.
Yeah. You're right.
As Megan McQueen.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't her first rodeo.
No.
Yeah. So is the actual real way that you say it in real life Yakuza?
That's how I've heard it said by others.
Okay, that's how I should say it. It's like Forza. I always said Forza, and then I realised it was Forza. And
Yeah,
I was like,
I think
oh
I said
no, I've
Forza.
been saying it wrong for all my years.
Still, they've never made fives, have
Yakuza.
they?
No.
Disappointing. I've always wanted to say that terrible joke, and now,
you
I have.
have.
I regret it.
But-
So Liz, are we gonna talk to Transformer about our two games?
Yes, we are. Let me get
So-
that website loaded up.
For the unfamiliar listener, Talk to Transformer is an AI-based tool. It's talktotransformer.com, right?
So it's touchtransformer.com, and it says, see how a modern neural network completes your text.
Yeah, so basically we're going to feed it the name of the game and the word is, and then it's going to spin us a yarn of
Love that.
unpredictable nonsense. So Liz is putting in my first game, The Simpsons Bart versus the Space Mutants. Wait, and the word is, which she's forgotten.
Is.
What a noob. And we click the complete text button, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to give it a little read. Okay. So, it says, The Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants is so amazing. I even watched it for the first time today when it was played on the TV. And then I thought, holy shit, the thing has the best sound and I can't decide if it's good or bad. Oh yeah, the spoiler alert was that it's good because it's great. And my son had an instant hunch he heard the song the most. So if you can't find the show on the stream, you can check it out on itunes.com/cbb/SBB, the spy show 43.html.
The Spy Show. This sounds like some viral marketing.
So yeah, I don't know how this thing builds what it builds, but it's weird, isn't it?
It sounds like the viral marketing, like, hey, go to this place to see this
Where did
show,
it
but
get-
it's actually a game.
Yeah.
Do you remember like when for BioShock 2 they did that website that looked like it looked like people had been posting reports of having seen something dodgy in the sea?
Oh, okay.
And then you were like, oh shit, what's this? And you get like things like there's something in the water, and you'd be like, what? And then you go onto the website and have a look, and it was like the
Reporting
website.
Rapture and stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
it was really clever. That
Cool.
was like some nice marketing.
I love a good viral market.
Yeah,
That's good.
I wish I could remember it more clearly, but at the time I remember thinking that's dead good.
Yeah. Should we do yours?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was underwhelming, but I have a feeling that the phrase "wet" is.
Wet is.
Let's have a go. Complete text. Oh God. Okay. Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
We're
dear.
laughing at all of. Oh, it's spitting out quite a lot.
This is a lot. Okay.
Go for it, Liz. And now a brief reading from Talks
love-
Transformer.
I love how the last word of the whole thing is the. Anyway,
Spoilers.
wet is not a real word because it's usually used to refer to wet hair or the liquid-like substance made up of two or more components. Wet hair can appear to be wet and smooth or dry and flaky. Wet hair means it's frizzy or thick. It can also be made up of separate wads of hair. Wads of hair!
Gross.
Sometimes wet hair can be mistaken for hair that's fallen apart on your head.
Ooh. What?
Can it?
When does that happen?
Or to dry a flat surface. I do not use my hair to dry a flat surface ever, whether it's wet or dry.
Is this you now?
No, this is me still reading.
Oh, that is still the reading. Sorry, carry on.
It's important to remember that wet hair may look fine initially and then dry out or fall apart. Wet wipes and wet shampoo. That's just one sentence.
Right, okay.
Wet wipes. Just shouting wet wipes.
Wet wipes.
Wet wipes are very old-fashioned.
Are they?
Wet wipes are very... I'm so sorry. Wet wipes are a very old-fashioned way of doing hair care using a brush. They are allowed to remove unwanted or dried out hair in the long term. This type of hair care works best if you're able to control the time to wet and dry to your skin preference. However, you won't really notice the big difference between wet wipes and regular wet wipes, since you can always brush out your hair after use.
P.S. The.
I'm sorry I fell apart a bit in the middle.
I mean...
It's just because I shouted wet wipes and amused myself.
Okay.
So yeah, not so much about the video game, but just about be careful about having wet hair, many separate wads of hair, and that it might look fine initially, but it might dry out or fall apart.
Key takeaway. Good. Thanks, Dr. Transformer.
You're welcome.
Don't do the voice.
Okay.
Okay.
So another day, another feedback.
So we obviously want you to decide which is best, Bart versus Space Mutants, or...
Wet.
It's just funny because it's one word and you're like, wet.
Wet is great. Wet is like an unsung hero or heroine of
It is. It's
time.
good.
It's a good game. So what did your friend do on it?
I think she did marketing on it.
I bet she had the best time marketing.
Yeah, I remember her being just super excited about it coming out. I don't know how well it sold.
I think we could have a look. I didn't check because I only care about my own opinion.
That is accurate.
Wet reviews. I think it got made. Oh no! Look, 92% of people like this game on Google. Metacritic got 70%. GameSpot 7.5. So it did well.
Yeah, it's probably up against some similar things. Like I say, maybe the Arkham games and some other stuff at the time.
I just don't know why it didn't get the sequel it deserved. It would be so good.
If I remember rightly, this is Bethesda, right? And that was just after they'd been acquired by ZeniMax. They had Rage was out around a similar time, I think. And I think they were sort of locking down the games they were going to make.
I see.
At that point, they weren't doing as many. I don't know. It could be totally wrong on that. That's my recollection.
Maybe they'll do another one. Maybe they'll surprise us with Wet 2.
And it'll be TOO. And it'll be her and her sister.
Because we don't know anything about her backstory.
Yeah, she might have a sister. Whose name is...
Maybe her sister's Tarantula.
Tarantula Malone. I don't know.
Jade
Of course, another precious stone.
Yeah.
I tried to actually think of one and I couldn't. So I just went with
Ruby
Tarantula.
Malone.
There you go.
It could be 2-player. Although I can't imagine skidding around your knees as fun in 2-player. Unless there's a mechanic where as you cross over knee skidding, you do like a double jump.
Power move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be good.
Is that your false view?
No,
I'm going to keep guessing.
But
so you've basically written a sequel in your head now anyway.
It'd be the best.
They may as well make it.
Yeah, it'd be the best. I would pay all the money for a Wet sequel.
How much?
£1 million. Oh, another thing as well.
Oh, thanks for clarifying which currency.
Is that you can also collect monkeys in the game.
That is false.
But I don't... No, that's true. There's these little clappy hand monkeys, the toys.
Yeah.
I collected them, but I have no idea what they're for.
Right.
I
so
don't
you put
know
a lot
if
of
it's
effort
just
in something, you've got no idea why.
Yeah.
Huh. So, anyway, based on all of our information, you can give us your feedback using a Twitter poll.
Yep.
So have a look on Twitter for @FierceFeedback and look for the poll and tell us which one is the best.
Which one is wetter?
You're saying that wet is better?
Yeah.
Right. And we will see you next time. If you have any corrections for all of the stuff that we've said, which you definitely do, email us at fiercefeedback@gmail.com.
Yes, please do. And thank you very much. And goodbye.
Bye, Liz.
Bye, Will.